All right, what's going on tonight? We're going to clear up a few misconceptions, talk about VA loans, some guidelines. We're not going to cover everything, but just give you some basic information so that way you can feel comfortable purchasing your next home. So if you're a veteran, you have not done your research as of yet, but you're thinking about buying VA loan, is a great program, great program. So for the active duty, you left the service. This is also like information that you can provide, which provide to your realtor as well. I'm just gonna share some basic information. I'm trying to do one of these lives every day. Still working out the kinks. We were supposed to be on at 7, but I had a little technical difficulties with this stuff in the background. But anyway, VA loans. So 100% financing. On 100% financing, you'll see this with like other programs as well. Does not mean like you still do not have closing costs. If you are exempt, then taxes, you don't have to pay that. But prepaid taxes, insurance, other expenses, your earnest money deposit, inspection fees, like these are just things that come along with any type of loan. So prepare for that. Zero down is a VA benefit. No closing costs depends on how you structure the loan. We'll get into some of the concession options as well later on. All right, so monthly PMI. So VA loans do not have monthly mortgage insurance, even if you don't put any money down. Meaning that can like save you a lot. A lot of other loans, like if you're putting less than 20% down, generally you have mortgage MI, PMI. VA loans do not require that. All right. Another myth: VA loans offers are weak. So this is something like when you're working. I don't know if my mic is on. My dog is over here making a lot of noise. When you're working with different lenders, different realtors, it all depends on what the buyer is like, what the seller is looking at, right? Like some people want only cash offers, some people don't want to take FHA offers. Yeah, it all depends on what the seller is looking at. A lot of times I've found, like throughout my years in this industry, is that when they are straying away from certain types is because of an issue with the property, right? FHA, you'll still get your money, right? If somebody's using an FHA loan, a VA loan, you'll still get your money. Conventional, only thing like without any hiccups, no contingencies, anything like that, is a cash offer. So to me, a loan is a loan when I'm working with it because on my end, I know we do our due diligence up front and our offers like our SoundCloud, unless again, a lot of times people like sellers, the, these loans types with the inspections and things that you come up, these are put in place to protect you as the buyer, right? So again, it's not a weaker type of loan. You are a veteran, you've earned these benefits. Tap in, take advantage of it. So again, VA loans, do your due diligence up front. Make sure you get pre-approved. Verify your certificate of eligibility. Confirm those cash to close figures so that way you go in knowing, all right, even though it's no money down, I still have to pay this, this, and this, or so that way you can negotiate it in that offer as well. All right, just make sure you're also working with a lender who understands the VA process. All right, another one, VA appraisal is not an inspection. All right, so the VA appraisals is mainly to help establish the property, and you'll see this across any loan type. All right, appraisal to establish the property type. I'm sorry, not the property type, especially establish the property's value and confirms VA's minimum property requirements. So it's not a replacement for a home inspection. Definitely still always get a home inspection. All right, it just lets you know like if any repairs or anything that needs to be done, you can like negotiate and get these stuff done up front. I had a client recently who we had a loan, and they wrote in the contract they were providing more money so that way we can get something repaired and fixed on our end, and it wasn't an issue, right? But the bank still will not lend on the property unless like certain things are fixed, just because again is the bank's asset. If you have a loan on it, that's the bank's asset until you pay off that loan. All right. So make sure, again, you still get your inspection. Don't be afraid of the appraisal. Appraisal is letting you know that what the value is. And then also, like, if you have to like have an appraisal contingency, properties like you're not going and losing money. All right. So three lesser known facts. VA itself does not establish a universal minimum credit score. A lot of time lenders have overlays. So what you'll see, there are some lenders who we work with who won't go below 640 for VA loan. There are other lenders who will go down all the way down to 500. So it's just about knowing your options, working with a lender again who has options for you. All right, VA benefit can potentially be used more than once. So this is something that a lot of people do not know. You can use your VA benefit more than once. All right. So again, VA loan, like any government loan, is for owner occupied. So say you have a home, you have to relocate for whatever reason, you've lived in it for a period of time. As long as you've replenished your funding fee, then you can purchase another home. All right, eligible borrowers may use VA financing for a 2 to 4 unit property when they occupy one unit as their primary residence. So again, this is something a lot of people aren't aware of. 1 through 4 unit still counts as residential real estate. You can purchase anything from 1 to 4 units again, as long as you are living in one of those units. So you can use the other 3 units to help you qualify for that property. You still like should be able to qualify to make sure you can carry that mortgage just in case anything happens. I do not like relying on other people to make sure my bills are paid. You should feel the same. So like no matter what loan type you're doing, whether that be an FHA, VA, conventional, and you are doing one of those type of loans, anything over like 3, 4 units for a lot of these different property types, the bank will actually have you have residual income for the VA, but also um, reserves left in an account after closing, just for these reasons, just in case somebody doesn't pay their rent or something like that. So again, three lesser known facts for our veterans. VA does not establish a universal minimum credit score. It can go anywhere from 500 on up. All right, VA benefit can potentially be used more than once. And then also, eligible borrowers can purchase anything from a 1 to 4 unit property with the VA loan. All right, with the VA loan. All right, Q&A. So I took a poll earlier because I knew I was going to be doing this live. All right, and we got a few questions. So we're going to run through some Q&As. Definitely, if you have any, feel free. I'm using this app, so I'll see if any questions pop up. As mentioned, like I was going through some technical difficulties earlier. All right, but if anything pops up, my apologies for not answering your question live. Feel free to leave it in the chat, and then we'll check back in with that. All right, but does VA give the veteran money for the house? All right, so the answer to that is no. All right, the money comes from a private lender or a bank, and then the VA guarantees a portion of it. All right. So another question we got: does every veteran automatically qualify? Again, the answer is going to be no. The veteran must have eligible service and still meet the lender's credit, income, debt, and occupancy requirements. So again, the credit, there's no the VA doesn't have a required credit score. Lenders generally have a required credit score. And then again, based on income, debt ratios, occupancy requirements, it has to be owner occupied. Does every veteran pay a funding fee? Is another question we got. No. Some eligible borrowers are exempt. All right, we're going to verify that through your certificate of eligibility. And then also some borrowers, like you'll see, I mentioned the property taxes as well earlier, right? So there are a lot of things that you can be exempt from. Like definitely look at your COE, talk to your lender, hit me up, and I'll answer any questions that you have. All right, can a veteran buy with poor credit? So potentially, again, it all depends on the bank and the lender. You have some banks that won't go below 640, some that want a minimum of 580, others you can go all the way down to 500. It all depends on the underwriting system that they're using, and then if they do manual underwriting as well. Main thing, practice good credit habits, like a good credit hygiene, paying your bills on time. Life happens to everybody, so like if you have like a late or something like that, doesn't necessarily disqualify you from purchasing. Just again, talk to your lender and practice good hygiene, credit hygiene, lower utilization on those cards, paying your bills on time, keeping cards that you've had for a long period of time open. Just the basic things. All right. Can veterans buy land? So generally, the VA loan cannot be used to purchase vacant land. Land potentially be included with eligible construction financing. So some lenders do have construction to permanent loan options. There is a program that I saw, and I'll share it if anybody's interested in it, where out here in Texas you can use. I forgot the name of the program off the top of my head, but there is a program. I'll try to find it, leave it in the comments, or just send me a DM if you're interested, but that you can use your VA loan your to buy land. I saw it the other day because somebody had this question. All right, another question: can veterans buy a duplex? I already answered this. Yes, you can. You can buy up to a 4 unit with your VA loan, so 1, 2, 3, 4 unit, and then you just have to occupy one of the units. Can the seller help with closing costs? So VA loans, unlike other loans, the seller can do more than help with the closing costs. Seller can actually pay down your debts. All right. So like definitely if you're not familiar, that is something to look into because VA permits seller credits, certain concessions. It just has to be structured within the guidelines. So say you have a car loan and that's impacting your DTI. If you negotiate that, the seller can pay that off. Right. Same thing as far as like paying off other bills, a credit card bill or something like that that you need to qualify. That can be negotiated, factored into those closing costs as well. So that is one of the things that we love about VA loans. Helping our veterans is a great program. Definitely lock in, check in, see if you qualify with that. All right. So the biggest takeaway: VA loan is the earned benefit. Make sure you're using it. This is a great loan program, especially in today's buyer's market. We're licensed in Texas, Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina. We have a lot of veterans throughout those states. Definitely, even if you do not use me, lock in and check in and see like what you qualify for. It's always a good option, whether you're going conventional, FHA, VA. If you're a veteran, see what options you have for that VA loan. All right. So tomorrow, talking about FHA loans. FHA loans, 7 o'clock on the dot tomorrow. I'm going to be on time. I'll get these kinks sorted out. But 7 p.m. on the dot. FHA loans tomorrow. We're going to throw in some down payment assistance information in there as well. So tap in, and then if you have any questions, send me a DM. All right. Stay up.